Coming up, Madison played host to the first ever MidcoSN Shootout over the weekend. We've got highlights and reaction from that, as well as the 34th Hanson Classic.
She's a mix of jackrabbit and coyote, but this Washington standout has decided to become a bison. Find out what made Fargo the right fit for Anna Goodhope.
There's a high-pressure system moving across the Dakotas. Jandy will fill you in on some devastating defense in this week's high school hoops forecast.
All that plus previews and picks of some of this week's best matchups on Varsity Sports right now.
And how is everybody doing? Alongside Jason Andera, I am Jay Elson, and this, of course, is Varsity Sports.
Yeah, we had another great week in high school hoops. Some ranked teams going down on Tuesday night in South Dakota, and some fun battles in North Dakota as well. We'll get to all of it here in the next half hour.
Yeah, we're going to change things up a bit to start tonight as we hit the rewind button to take you through a couple of big events that took place last weekend. And we start at the Dakota State University Fieldhouse, which was home to the first MidcoSN Shootout. 16 teams made the trip to Madison to play 8 games. We were there to capture all the action. We'll be replaying those games throughout the coming weeks. So go to MidcoSN.com/shootout for the complete broadcast schedule. Here are a few of the highlights now from that day. Bridgewater Emory came back from a 17-point deficit in the second half to earn a 62-60 victory over Wynot, Nebraska. Sam Aaron went for 18 in the win.
Just gets all of our guys going, and when we're all going, we all just click.
Wolsey Wessington scored the largest margin of victory of the day with a 67-55 win over Harriet Selby. Arian Ogunjumalusi poured in 22 points and grabbed 9 boards for the Warbirds.
Just started out good and then just carried over to the second half, and we played the way we should play, how we can play, and finished.
Winner rallied from a 5-point halftime deficit to get past Tri-Valley 55-48. It was a strong team effort for the Warriors, who were led by Devin Lieferman with 12 points.
We went into halftime, and our coach told us to bring the energy, and we just came out defensively and just shut them down.
The nightcap came right down to the wire, but it was DeSmet holding off Waverly South Shore 49-47.
We had a lot of young guys step up. Chase Altenberg came in at 12 off the bench. A lot of sophomores did well tonight.
And here's how the rest of the day's games shook out. Hills Beaver Creek from Minnesota, 62-51 over Viborg Hurley. Ellsworth, Minnesota falls to Freeman by a count of 55-44. St. Francis Indian School upends Ipswich 62-53. And Menno over Bonhomme by a score of 55-44.
Now that was definitely fun to do. The MidcoSN Shootout is just getting started, but the Hanson Classic has been providing great midseason basketball for over 3 decades, and this year was no different. One matchup pitted Sioux Valley against Minnesota's defending AA champion Maple River. Cossacks held a 42-41 lead after 3, but were unable to finish the job. The Eagles score 9 of the game's final 12 points, and they deal Sioux Valley its 3rd loss by a count of 50-45.
Warner and White River squared off in a battle of Class B's top 2 teams, and this one came down to shooting. The Monarchs were up 14 at the end of the first quarter, went on to win it by 12, 62-50. Warner, which improved 11-0, converted on 51% of its attempts from the floor while holding the Tigers to 36%.
And to finish the action at the Hanson Classic, Shea Jolly scored 27 points. He went 11 of 12 shooting to lead Canastota past Sanborn Central Woonsocket 71-61 in another matchup of top 5 teams. The Hawks were opportunistic all night, forcing 25 Blackhawk turnovers, which led to a lot of easy transition buckets. With that win, Canastota improved to 11-1 before they lost on Tuesday and moved back to 11-2.
All right, let's take a look at some other scores from the Hanson Classic. The host team, Hanson, gets a win, 60-48 over Sully Buttes. Clark Willow Lake over Parkston, 60-53. And Langford area, 43-32 winner over Alcester Hudson. St. Thomas More and Vermilion in a pretty good one, 60-51. The Cavaliers take that one.
And then Chester, they've been super impressive over the last couple of weeks. They get a big win on Saturday over Corsica Stickney and got another big win on Tuesday. This is a team moving in the right direction.
Yeah, they are. All right, well, what do you get, Jason, when you combine a coyote, a jackrabbit, and a bison? Well, you get the Goodhope family from Sioux Falls. Right. We're going to have more on Anna Goodhope's unique recruiting story when we come back.
Varsity Sports on Midco Sports Network is presented by Mitchell Technical Institute, Shields, and Farmers Union Insurance Agency.
Welcome back. Anna Goodhope grew up with a coyote for a dad and a jackrabbit for a mom, so it only makes sense when it came time for her to pick a college. She chose NDSU. Here's more from the Warrior with D1 talent. Anna Goodhope grew up with basketball advice from two college basketball players for parents. Naturally, she migrated towards basketball and has fond memories of her parents coaching her as a grade schooler. She has one memory that sticks out.
Probably my favorite is just my parents yelling at me. Probably it sounds bad, but I mean it's made me a lot tougher. And when I can remember in 7th grade, I turned the ball over or something like right at half court, and they went and got a layup, and I didn't run back. And my dad just looked at me, and I immediately knew that I was in trouble. And I mean the whole rest of the game, I did not make a mistake the rest of the game because I knew. So and I think it'd be different if I had somebody that wasn't my parents, just because I would act different around them, but they've made me the basketball player I am today.
Her dad was a point guard at USD. Her mom, a power forward at SDSU. Anna says they were probably secretly pulling for her to choose one of the in-state schools, but they left the choice completely up to Anna.
They were whatever feels right, exactly what I wanted to do. They were all for wherever I wanted to go, and I mean, they're totally, completely on board. It might hurt a little bit when they have to put green on, but when I went up to NDSU, immediately they were so welcoming. I felt right at home. I mean, everyone was just so willing to be so helpful, and it was just so close-knit up there. I just felt really, really at home.
North Dakota State will get a very skilled player who possesses a versatility on the court that only the daughter of a point guard and a power forward could produce.
She's a very unique athlete. You know, to have somebody who is about 6 feet tall, who can shoot the three-pointer, who can drive to the basket. She started to expand her physical game a little bit, where she'll post up and make some plays down in the paint. And like I said, having a kid that can score in multiple ways really makes her unique.
If there's one thing Anna knows, it's how to win. In the last 2 years, Goodhope has finished the season cutting down the nets, but she doesn't take that for granted.
Oh no, I mean, we proved last year you can have your 500 team at the end of the regular season, and despite of who we ended up playing against in the state tournament, I mean, we thought every game going into every game, we will win this game, and it's all about our perseverance.
One of the reasons this team sits atop the rankings once again is the chemistry that they've developed. The same starting five you see for the Warriors is the same team that started playing together in the 5th grade.
We know we can predict exactly what each other are going to do. We know who's going to deliver a pass and who's going to catch a ball, and just, I mean, it just helps out so much when we know each other so well.
While Anna has a strong connection to the entire team, she and Sydney Arrington have something special. They have been producing at the varsity level ever since they were sophomores and have made a great combination ever since.
Sydney's my best friend. I mean, on and off the court. So I think we know, she knows exactly when I'm going to come get a screen, and when I'm going to drive, she pops up the line a little bit, and I mean, it's kind of every once in a while, it'll kind of be a 2-on-2 game with us, and I love playing with her. It's so fun.
Well, one thing's for sure, Jason, if Washington is in fact able to complete the three-peat, that means Anna Goodhope was a big part of the equation.
That's for sure. When she's playing well, which she has been, especially over these last 2 weeks, that Washington is rolling and are very hard to beat. They showed that on Tuesday night against Harrisburg when she had a huge first half, 16 points, and in the second half they really shut her down, and Harrisburg almost climbed back into that game. But hardly any players are as versatile as Anna Goodhope, because she has the length at 6 foot to do all the things that you need a post player to do, but she's got great handles and obviously can shoot the ball. You see her stats, 17.6 points per game, also a great rebounder, but can hit that three-pointer, and that's one of the many reasons why Maren Walseth is really looking forward to getting Anna next year.
multi-sport athlete, fantastic tennis player, has won state championships for Sioux Falls, Washington, down in South Dakota. And she's a very versatile player. Her size, her father is 6'4" and was a point guard, so at about 6'1", 6 feet 6'1", she herself has a great handle, but also rebounds the ball very well for a wing player, and is learning to use angles and her strength to attack the rim. So she'll be a very exciting player for us to watch.
Walseth and the Bison getting a good one in Anna Goodhope.
We're getting a lot of good ones this year.
Good stuff, Jandy. Thank you. High pressure, thunder, those are terms that take on a whole new meaning on this show. Jason's going to walk us through this week's high school hoops forecast next.
Varsity Sports on Midco Sports Network is presented by Mitchell Technical Institute, Shields, and Farmers Union Insurance Agency.
And welcome back. Well, for those of you that only tune in for the weather, you're in luck. But this isn't your typical forecast. This one, of course, all about hoops. And Jandy, what do you have for us this week?
Something a little different. We've got some defense to show you, some high-pressure defense. And as you can see, the high-pressure system is running right through North Dakota. And you can see the points per game allowed by some of the best teams in each class. In girls, Class B basketball, just 30.2 points per game against Park River. Shanley defense, they've got garbage time almost every game and still just allowing 41.2 points per game. The West Fargo boys, 57.9, looks a little high, but they're just allowing 40% field goal against them with a 16.2 rebound margin. So that's pretty impressive. The Ellendale boys, the tops in Class B with 37.5. And, of course, the Century girls, 48.1 points per game. And they've got 2 players in the top 10 in block shots and 5 players double-digit steals. A terrific performance by them. And then let's look at the South Dakota high-pressure map. And as you can see, that high-pressure system keeps on moving through the state of South Dakota. St. Thomas More girls always pride themselves on defense, allowing less than 30 points per game. And then on the east side of the state, the Sully Buttes girls, also the top team in Class B with under 30 points. Look at this, under 30 points per game. Megan Boltzma obviously has a lot to do with that with Mount Vernon Plankinton. The O'Gorman girls, 28.2. I don't know if I've ever seen a Class AA girls team allow less than 30 points per game, and they've done 5 times this year where they've allowed somewhere in the 20s. Just incredible. And then the Huron boys, 46 points per game. This is a team that's allowing the teams to shoot just 34% against them, have been dominating on steals, blocks, and rebounds, doing everything you need to on the defensive side. So we got the defense covered. Let's have the dunks covered now. Let's bring back the Thunder Report. We'll start in Del Rapids, where Mason Schmidt, he can really throw down, and you can see it right here, right off the inbound pass. He sneaks in and does to Sioux Valley what almost never happens. Usually they're the ones on the Thunder Report. This time Mason Schmidt of Del Rapids on the inbound pass with the flush. Very nice, very nice. Let's move to a first-time Thunder Report, actually second time for Jack Talley, just a junior, and it looks like his first one, going baseline with some power right over the Lincoln defense. Now we'll move to the MidcoSN Classic, and Hills Beaver Creek star Zach Skolton on the breakaway. Look at the cameraman. He's got to take cover. Good thing he can hang on the rim a little bit. Nice flush by him. And then at the Hanson Classic, Michael Rogers, the 6'9" Warner product, goes up and gets the easy one, but he can do better than that. He can take one off the glass. That's right. That deserves a replay. Michael Rogers off the glass, puts it down. The big man makes it look easy. Now let's move to Zach Anderson. His favorite dunk is along the baseline, but you know Zach, he can also come down the middle. He hasn't been on the Thunder Report yet this year, so we've got a lot of dunks to catch up on. He sent about 20 in. Here's about 5 of his best. Look at that. Going the other side of the rim on the breakaway. But as we said, his favorite one is taking the pick on the low post, finding a baseline move. And that's not a replay, guys. He did it again. And watch out, you're going to get that pick on the low post, and it happens again. Guys, right here, watch it. If you're getting picked right there, Zach Anderson's going to find a flush, and he does it almost every single game. So that's January's edition of the Thunder Report. Once again, send us those dunks, especially in North Dakota. We need more representation from North Dakota. Let's look at the 7-day planner now. Big game in Class B. We've got Strasburg-Zeeland and Lytton HMB, 2 teams that are right on the cusp of that top 5, and I think that's going to be a tight one. And then the O'Gorman-Lincoln intra-city battle in Sioux Falls. The girls That's going to be another tight one. Pierre just lost on Tuesday night. They're going to look back with the bounce-back win on Friday against Aberdeen in a close one. Top team in Class B in South Dakota girls is going to be a fun one with Warner. And then you see a great defensive battle between North Star and Park River on Monday. A big one in the EDC with West Fargo and Davies. I think that might be the closest game of the week. And then to finish off the week, a real tough week for Aberdeen. They got to start out the week going against Pierre, finishing the week against Watertown. Again, those two teams, Pierre and Watertown, coming off losses on Tuesday night. So we'll see if Aberdeen can capitalize on those big games.
They're looking to capitalize. Meanwhile, the opponent looking to bounce
back.
Bounce back. Maybe they're catching them at the right time. Maybe they're catching them at the wrong time.
We shall see.
I guess we'll find out. All right, well, good stuff. Thanks, Jaddy. Coming up, find out which teams we think should be on upset alert this week. But first, we're going to celebrate the individuals that came up big in the box score over the past week. We'll unveil the Prep Hoops Dakota's Players of the Week after this.
Varsity Sports on Midco Sports Network is presented by Mitchell Technical Institute, Shields, and Farmers Union Insurance Agency.
And welcome back. Well, each week here on Varsity Sports, we like to honor those players that made the biggest contributions to their team over the past week. And our friends at Prep Hoops Dakotas give you the opportunity to weigh in on that decision with polling in both North and South Dakota. The vote's still going on through Thursday, so make sure to go and make your selections. Here are this week's nominees in the state of North Dakota. Jaddy, who do you like?
First of all, so many young players. You see a freshman, a sophomore, a couple juniors on this list, as well as a senior. But you see the freshman, Jamison Fettig. He missed a quadruple-double by a single rebound in the game last week. That deserves a lot of mention. But Auden Moody of Dickinson has been torrid over the last couple weeks, but none more than Friday when he went for 55 points.
My goodness.
That is the second highest scoring total in Class A history. I think this is a guy going in the right direction, that's for sure.
Oh, let's take a look at the South Dakota nominees now. And again, freshmen, juniors, seniors, all across the board.
Yeah, the one in particular I had a chance to watch, Braxton Schmidt. He is on this list because of his performance at the MidcoSN Shootout. Hit 5 3-pointers, most of those in the first half. Huge day for him. That was his single best game of his career, that's for sure. But I want to talk about the big guy. It's Ty Hoagland. This guy has been taking over Class A. 30 points against Madison, and maybe the biggest game of the year so far for him. He loves big game moments, and he has responded every single time.
Del Rapids, of course, already beaten Madison, as you said. Sioux Falls Christian.
Yeah.
Ty Hoagland, pretty big reason that the Warriors are where they are right now. All right, one programming note we want to pass along to you. Remember, next week we're going to take a little bit of a break from hoops to bring you a very special edition of Varsity Sports. We're going to have a full hour-long recap of National Signing Day. Find out where your favorite local and regional athletes have decided to play their college football. It's the Varsity Sports Signing Day Special coming up Wednesday, February 3rd at 8:30, and you can only find it here on Midco Sports Network. All right, well, Sioux Falls Christian's going to get another big test this week against an undefeated squad from Dakota Valley. We'll offer up our picks for that and a handful of other top matchups when we come back.
Varsity Sports on Midco Sports Network is presented by Mitchell Technical Institute, Shields, and Farmers Union Insurance Agency.
All right, it's that time again. Another round of high school hoops pick'em. You know how we do it. 4 games, 2 from North Dakota, 2 from South Dakota. Throwing an upset special for good measure. Each game, regular game, is worth 1 point. And our upset, if we nail that, we get 2. Take a look at the standings, just because I'm pretty proud of them.
He's doing pretty well. So far, so good, Jay.
10-2 through the first few weeks.
Keep it up.
I'm pretty pleased with that, plus a couple of upset picks. Let's get to it for this week, Jaddy. We'll start in North Dakota with the boys. Century and Minot, these two get together and play some awfully good games.
It's going to be a fun one, as usual. Minot at home this time, and Century not convincing wins over the last week or so. In fact, Tuesday night almost got beat by Mandan. I think that it's time for Minot to pluck one off, especially at home. It doesn't mean they're going to be the best team in the state, but I think they get the win.
Patriots won the first matchup between the two, 65-59 on December 19th. Though the Magi have won 8 straight since then. They're 6-0 at home this season, winning those games by an average of 19 points. Yeah. I like Minot as well. All right, North Dakota girls now, Shanley and Red River.
Well, people point to this one. If Shanley's going to lose a game, it might be this one. Grand Forks Red River has been playing much better when they versus when they lost to Shanley early in the year. But Shanley, all that being said, is just too good.
Maybe this would be the one. but it's not going to be the one. Shanley's going to win this one, and they're going to win it comfortable. I don't think they're going to win by 30 like they did the first time, but I do think Shanley stays perfect on the season. South Dakota boys now, Dakota Valley undefeated, goes to Sioux Falls Christian.
You know, I have definitely not had Dakota Valley on my radar as one of the best teams in the state. They are definitely on the radar now. They will match up great with Sioux Falls Christian, a really athletic team, but Dakota Valley loves to sink that three-pointer. If the three-pointer is rocking, I think they can win, and I think I'm going to call for it. I need to get some points here. I'm going to take Dakota Valley.
Okay, I'll take that point back. That's fine. Dakota Valley, I went in and I just wanted to see, like, who have they played? To get this undefeated record. There are some good wins in that 12-game season to this point for the Panthers. That being said, Sioux Falls Christian's last 3 wins have come by teams with a combined record of 29-11. That's Vermilion, Madison, and T-Area. They won those games by an average of 16 points. I think the Chargers are on a roll. I think they're back on track. They slipped up a little bit a couple of weeks ago. I think they win this one as well at home. South Dakota girls now, St. Thomas More and O'Gorman, the 2 Catholic schools getting together.
2 Catholic schools. I think the over-under in this game is 61 points total.
And it
might be 31-30. I really think it's going to be a close game, and I think St. Thomas More brings a lot of weapons on offense, more weapons than O'Gorman does, to be honest with you. But O'Gorman, with the home court advantage, I think sneaks out the win.
That defense, too, is something to be said. You look at the Crofton game. Crofton's kind of had St. Thomas More's number over the last few seasons. O'Gorman beat them earlier in the season. Not that that's the end-all, be-all, but I think it's just one more indicator to me that the Knights do get this game.
Okay.
But credit to St. Thomas More for taking the challenge. They always are never afraid to schedule some of those big schools. Finally, our upset picks of the week.
I think Fargo North is a team that's kind of sitting below. Sem has had an excellent season. I think he gets them to a win on Friday night against West Fargo.
I like Fargo North as well.
Oh.
Look at that. We don't often agree when it comes
double upset pick.
But I like them a different night. I like them on Thursday night against Devil's Lake.
They'll be fresher.
It's not as bold of an upset pick as yours is because, as West Fargo proved last week in their win over Devil's Lake, they're a pretty potent team.
Yeah.
But I like Fargo North. I think they're playing some good ball right now, and I think they're going to get the win over Devil's Lake. All right, that's going to do it for us for this week. For Jason Andera, I'm Jay Ellis. Remember to bring it back here next Wednesday night, 8:30 for the Varsity Sports Signing Day Special.